As a mom, I thought I did everything right. But April 1st, 2017 changed my life forever. I consider myself to be the best mom that I can be. I mean, it's hard raising children in this society, in this culture. But I believe that, I've done everything that I could. I'm still doing everything that I can as a mom, especially raising, children. I think with Dunstan, he's was a challenge, when he was growing up. But, again, I would just do the best that I can, talk to him. I think communication is big and, do the best that I can do. I think Dunstan had a really good childhood. We provided everything for him. When he was a little boy, he enjoyed playing soccer. He was on a soccer team as a little kid. At the time, his dad was a soccer coach, and he just thought it was the coolest thing. So we really did everything that we could to help Dunstan, provide him with everything that he needed. We thought he needed, and things that were a little extra. He was just really a good kid and just had lots of fun. So I would think, Dunstan had a really good childhood. Up until about 15, and then things started to go south. When he was 13, 14, Dunstan was just a really typical kid. He would do everything that I asked him to do. He was obedient. But I think when he was probably around the age of 15, Dunstan, I just noticed a change. Just very defiant. He wouldn't listen. In school, he would just sometimes skip classes and just didn't know what was going on with them. And I would say he started using drugs, and I noticed it just really started changing his whole personality. Sometimes he wouldn't just come home, even at 15 and 16, just in and out, just wouldn't listen. So I didn't know how to handle him just smoking and coming in. I just didn't know how to handle that. So at the time, our county it's called Children Under Need of Supervision. So I got them involved basically. And so if you're not listening to your mom and dad, they get the state involved. So Dunstan was in and out of juvenile detention, just because of that, just because of using. And I think that's really when it started, just getting in trouble with the law. It was hard for me to do, it was hard, but I had other children, and I had to do something to try to stop them. It was just tough. I mean, I think I was more embarrassed than anything, because as a mom, did everything, at least I thought. I did everything that I could to help him, not to do the things that I taught him not to do, but then he would still do it. It was like a cycle. He would just do it over and over again. Mom, I'm sorry, but then he would still, you smoke, not come in, and it was really tough, really a tough time, heartbreaking. April 1st, 2017 just changed my entire life. I can remember early morning, getting a knock on the door, just wondering, it was probably 6 or 7 in the morning or so, just a knock on the door, and I'm thinking, okay, well, who is this? So, and it was police at my door. So of course I let them in, see what was going on. And I could just remember my heart was kind of racing, because I didn't know what was going on. Just like, oh my goodness, which son is in trouble? Because at the time, both boys were not home. And so I invited the officers in. I remember, invited them to my living room area. And I just can remember just thinking, okay, what's going on? It just felt like it was going in slow motion. And so one of the detectives, it was two guys, was saying, you need to get to the hospital. Your son's been involved in a robbery incident. I'm like, a robbery? What in the world is going on, a robbery? And he was injured. He was shot in the head, and I needed to get to the hospital right away. I don't even remember, but my head was just racing, didn't know what to do, and just thinking I'm thinking, well, I knew this would happen. That's what I'm thinking at one time. And then I'm thinking, I can't believe this happened. And mad at the same time, this happened. My son is shot in the head. It's just all these emotions in my head I can remember to this day. And so I can also remember the detective giving me a card. It was actually a homicide card. And I'm like, oh my goodness, this is really serious. So they didn't really talk long. They were just telling me that I needed to get to the hospital right away. So I did. When I walked in the hospital, I just trying to get to him, get to ICU. Just all, again, kind of a blur, but I remember, trying to figure out where he was. They said, you need to go up to ICU, he's in intensive care. Went up there. I can remember the doctor, Dr. Lynn, before I even went in there, he kind of prepared me. So I remember going into a room, he explained to me the extent of his injuries, and I can remember him saying, this next 48 hours is very critical. It was explaining what they did, what kind of surgery they did. And I can remember just going in and boy, he just had, he didn't even look like himself. He was just swollen, lots of tubes everywhere in his body. And I just couldn't believe it. It was just a sight that I don't ever want to see again. Just machines hooked up everywhere, beeping sounds. I can remember like a tube down his throat. I just couldn't believe it. It was just terrible. I never ever thought that this would happen to my son, ever. Not to the extent where he almost lost his life. I know, like I said, years and years I've talked to him, preached to him, encouraged and tried to inspire him, but never in a million years that I thought my son would be in a hospital, let alone shot in the back of the head. Never would have, no.